Okay, picture this. You're out in nature, it's beautiful, you're just enjoying the moment, and then boom, an unexpected encounter. What do? Well, in this explainer, we're going to unlock the secrets to surviving wild animal attacks. And we're going to start by revealing which creatures are actually the deadliest. And I'm willing to bet the answer is not what you think. So, if I asked you to name the world's ultimate killer, your mind probably jumps straight to sharks, right? I mean, we've all seen the movies. But the real numbers tell a completely different story. It's wild. Sharks, they're responsible for about 6 deaths a year. Lions, around 22. But then you get to snakes, and whoa, they are in a totally different league, causing a staggering 100,000 deaths every single year. It just goes to show you, our biggest fears don't always line up with the real threats out there.
And the surprises really don't stop with snakes. Get this. Elephants and hippos, animals we often think of as, these gentle giants. They're each responsible for over 500 deaths a year. And crocodiles, they double that, racking up 1,000. It's a pretty serious reminder that we really need to respect where the danger actually comes from.
So let's really get into it. We're going to start with these deadliest animals and break down the specific and sometimes, honestly, pretty bizarre rules you need to know to survive an encounter.
Okay, so if a snake is actually following you, your first instinct is probably to either freeze up or run like crazy. Don't do either of those. Instead, start stomping your feet. See, snakes hear by feeling vibrations in the ground through their jawbone. So when you stop, you're basically creating this sensory overload for them. It confuses them, and most of the time, they'll just decide to leave you alone.
Now, if you do get bitten, you have to forget everything you've seen in the movies. First, and this is the most important part, do not try to suck the venom out. It just doesn't work, and you can actually make things worse by introducing bacteria into the wound. What you should do is immediately wash the bite with water. Now, you might have heard about applying a tourniquet, but modern first aid says to be really careful with that unless you're trained, because you could cut off blood flow and cause even more damage. Your number one absolute priority is to call for emergency help right away.
All right, let's talk crocodiles. Surviving them requires a totally different mindset. And what's so fascinating here is that the right way to react changes completely based on one simple thing. Are you on land or are you in the water?
And the difference? Well, it's night and day. On land, a croc is slower, a little more hesitant. So you want to be as loud and chaotic as possible. Yell, make a ton of noise, and run in a zigzag pattern to throw off their straight-line attack. But in the water, that's their world. So you do the exact opposite. Don't splash, don't scream. All that commotion just makes you sound like prey. Your goal is to be totally silent and swim away as quietly as you possibly can.
Okay, let's move on to the animals that, let's be honest, you might not even think of as a threat. These surprising encounters can still be really dangerous, but only if you don't know the simple and sometimes very, very strange rules for how to handle them.
So if you find yourself a little too close to a kangaroo and it's starting to look agitated, whatever you do, don't turn and run. Their legs are so powerful you'll never outrun them. Instead, you're going to do something that sounds kind of weird. Give a few short, quiet coughs. Kangaroos might see this as a sign that you're sick, which makes you seem like less of a threat. And as you're doing that, just slowly back away, and the whole situation will probably just fizzle out.
And now it's time to debunk a huge myth. Bulls are not enraged by the color red. They're basically colorblind. What they react to is movement. So if a bull is charging you, you have to stand your ground. Then, right as it gets close, throw something, your hat, your shirt, anything, far away from you. The bull will instinctively go after that new movement, and that gives you the few precious seconds you need to get to safety.
Don't let that bulky look fool you for a second. A hippo can charge at over 18 miles per hour. They can easily outrun a person. So forget about running. Your only real defense is to go vertical. Climb a tree, scramble up a big rock, find a steep hill, any high ground they can't get to, and just wait for them to lose interest.
All right, let's talk about the big ones, the giants and the apex predators, the animals that really command our fear and our respect. Surviving an encounter with them comes down to one critical choice. Do you act dominant or do you act submissive? And believe me, making the wrong choice can be fatal. With a lion, your one and only goal is intimidation. Lions are wired to hunt prey that runs, prey that acts scared, so you have to convince that lion you are not prey at all. You have to hold its gaze. Make yourself look as big as possible by raising your arms and opening your jacket. Speak loudly, confidently. This weird, confident behavior can actually short-circuit their predator instinct, making them think, you know what, this isn't worth the risk. But, and this is a huge but, if you did that with a gorilla, it would be a fatal mistake. A silverback is a proud leader protecting his family, and a direct challenge is the absolute worst thing you can do. So with them, you have to show total submission. Sit down, make yourself smaller, speak quietly, and crucially, avoid direct eye contact. To them, that's a sign of aggression. You have to show them, in every way possible, that you are not a threat to their authority.
So, we've covered looking big, and we've covered looking small. But a bear encounter? That requires a totally different strategy. You can't run from them. They can hit 30 miles per hour. And you can't intimidate them. Your only real option is to convince the bear that you are no longer a threat. Permanently.
To do this, you have to drop to the ground and curl into a fetal position using your hands to protect the back of your neck. Now, the bear might nudge you, it might even roll you around a bit. You have to stay calm and perfectly still. But here's the most important part. Even after the bear leaves, do not move. They are famous for waiting nearby just to see if their prey miraculously gets back up.
Now, if the absolute worst-case scenario happens, and you are actually grabbed by a shark or a crocodile, you have to fight back. But just flailing around is only going to waste precious energy. You have one chance. You have to aim for their most sensitive areas. A sharp, focused blow to the eyes, the gills, or the throat is your absolute best shot at forcing them to let go.
Okay, that was a lot of very specific advice. But what happens if you're in a panic and you can't remember every single rule? Don't worry. It really all boils down to 3 core principles. Think of it as your universal survival toolkit. This is it, your survival toolkit. 3 rules to remember above all else. Number 1, control your fear. Panic and running just flip a predator's chase switch. Move slowly, deliberately. 2, manage your size. You have to instantly decide, do I need to look big and intimidating or small and submissive? And 3, know the weakness. If you absolutely have to fight, don't waste a single move. Make it count by targeting those sensitive zones we talked about.
So now you've got the strategies to face down some of the biggest and baddest animals on the planet. But you know, survival isn't always about the apex predators. Sometimes the threat is much, much smaller, and it can be drawn to something as simple as the color of your shirt. What do you do when a swarm of bees decides your dark t-shirt looks just like a predator? Well, that's a whole different kind of survival.